Greetings, good people. I'm putting this video out as a way to kind of prepare you and to show you what some of the new protocols and procedures will be as we prepare to open our church again for public worship for Pentecost weekend. That would be May 30th and 31st. First of all, our Mass schedule is going to remain the same. Saturday at 4:30, Sundays at 9 and 11 o'clock. The one schedule difference is going to be Saturday confessions, which is going to be pushed back a half hour, or pushed earlier a half hour. It will be at 3 o'clock instead of 3:30. So again, Saturday confessions will be at 3 o'clock instead of 3:30. Masses will be continued to be live streamed and recorded. The live streaming Mass will likely be at 9 o'clock, but if there's a change in plans, I will let you know of that ahead of time. And one of the things we ask is that one does not congregate at the church. By that I mean before or after Mass, to still avoid crowding each other, especially crowding after Mass. You know, if you want to visit with people, please go outside if you can. Because after our Masses, we have to kind of clean down all the pews and everything, and we have to do that after every single Mass. So again, that's just one of the practices and little sacrifices we're going to have to make for this time. Concerning masks are not mandatory, but you are certainly free to wear one. And so, as you wear your mask, that is perfectly fine. Of course, when it comes to communion, you of course will have to remove the mask to receive it, of course, and I will go into protocols about that a little bit later. Now, when you enter the church, first thing you're going to notice, of course, is the rope and tape that are here on the pews. What we decided to try, at least for this first weekend, is kind of a zigzag pattern, if you will, with the pews. So basically, every other pew is roped off, open, roped off, open. However, it's only half the pew. So if the center aisle is open, the other side is roped off. So it's kind of like a zigzag pattern going up and down the church. Now, the far back pews, those are completely open, and the idea is larger families can sit here, because again, these can usually hold out maybe 4 or 5 if you really squeeze in for these pews. Now, I'm not restricting large families back there, but if you have a larger family and you want to sit further up, then you may have to be split up. Again, this is certainly not ideal, and if this arrangement does not work out, then we're willing to change and, try something else as we go along. Now, something else you will notice is the tape off around here. The purpose of that tape is for the communion line. So the idea will be that as you approach communion, I and the minister will be here. There's one spot here and one spot there. And then you'll have these other spots, which again are about 6 feet apart. So when you come up for communion, you will do so stepping on those lines, keeping a basic distance between everyone. Now, the way the pews and ropes are set up right now, the way we're going to make this work is we still want everyone to come in the same direction. So basically the idea would work is, and then I'll explain this during Mass itself, so you don't have to memorize this here, but the people in the center aisle would come down and then back around as they always would. And then the people on the far side aisle, the wall aisles, will again come down around back, and then up front, again keeping their distance. Now this will cause communion to go on a little bit longer than normal, but again it's just one of those things we will have to do. And again, if that's not quite working out, we will look to adjust. Now for communion, this is how the procedures are going to work. When you come forward to the minister itself, first of all, there's only going to be me and one other minister at most. We are not going to distribute the precious blood, only the host for the time being. So when you come forward to receive, first of all, we highly encourage that one only receive on the hand. If you still wish to receive on the tongue, you may still do so. However, I ask that you only come to me to receive communion if you're going to receive on the tongue. So please keep that in mind. So when you do receive communion, again, hold your hands out as the normal practice, and what will happen is, in order to avoid physical contact, myself and the minister will basically very carefully set or drop the host on your hand. So, if you're looking from looking at another angle, it'll kind of be like this, almost kind of just carefully dropping it into your hand. So, all the more reason to make sure your form for receiving communion is correct. Again, we are trying to avoid any physical contact. Again, if you are going to receive on the tongue, please make sure to use the proper form, in that your mouth is open and your tongue is out. Just like that, so that I can carefully place the host on your tongue. Now, in the event that I were to touch any part of your mouth or tongue, saliva, that sort, I will have to stop, wash my hands, and then resume communion again. So for that reason, it is encouraged that if you are going to receive on the tongue, to be one of the last in line. Now, should you come up ahead of time, I'm not going to stop you and tell you to go to the back or anything, but just keep that in mind, because if there is any kind of contact, I will have to stop and wash and purify my hands, and then resume. So that's part of the reason for that. Now, if you are coming up to communion and you're wearing a mask, please pull your mask down first. Then I will give you communion. You receive, and then you may place your mask back on. You are not to wear gloves. If you come up to receive communion and you're wearing gloves, I and the minister will tell you to please remove them before distributing communion. And also, while I will not be wearing a mask during Mass itself, for communion I will put on a mask. Me and the other Eucharistic minister will be wearing a mask as we distribute communion. So that way you don't have to be afraid or nervous as you come forward and close to us to receive the body of Christ. Just as a few final things, this upcoming week, the week of the 24th, since people have been away from the sacraments for a while, I'm giving extra days for the sacrament of reconciliation this upcoming week. Again, that's the week of May 24th. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings, there will be reconciliation at 5:30. You, of course, can also just call me and set an appointment for the sacrament before you return to the sacrament of the Eucharist. And, of course, that will also include the new normal Saturday time of 3 p.m. So just keep that in mind as you prepare yourself to return to the sacrament and as we return and open up for public worship again. Just remember that if you are not feeling well and maybe you're afraid of getting sick, then please don't be afraid to simply stay home. Again, the dispensation from the obligation for attending Mass is still in effect and will be for the time being. So if you feel like you shouldn't go to Mass today, or you're afraid of getting sick of going to Mass, don't be afraid to simply stay home. Like I said, our Mass here will still be filmed and live streamed. Again, all of these procedures that we have done is done for safety reasons, to protect one another from the virus, which of course is, yes, still out there. Truth be told, simply coming out and gathering in a space, there is a slight inherent risk for that. But again, we are doing what we can to protect yourselves while still being able to worship God publicly and to receive His sacraments. So I just simply ask you to please follow with the protocols. We didn't like putting them into place, and you don't want to have to deal with it either, trust me. But for the time being, this is simply what we're going to have to do. Now, everything that I have spoken about here is a little subject to change. Some of the things we've done, we will, especially with the pew arrangements, we'll see if that works or not. If we have to rework it, so be it, we will. Just remember, of course, to always wash your hands, use sanitizer, and to simply be safe. And I look forward to seeing all of you again. God bless.